everyone, this is my run on Ghosts of the Past, which is Ultimecia Lost Chapter Lufenia fight on DFFOO global version of the game, and this is specifically a no synergy, no burst mode lightning cheese run, which also features no enemy actions the entire fight. And I will be posting a timestamp as well as the setup that I have in the video description, so do check it out. Starting off at the fight, it's actually quite key to reset the wave until lightning goes first, and I immediately use Ramza LD call. The reason for this is the boss and the minions are actually not immune to delay on turn number 1. They only become immune to delay once you take one action. So having Ramza launched at the start is actually quite key because it leads to break and delay, and allows you to launch all 3 enemies on screen, which will quickly charge up the Ramuh summon, and that itself is key. If you don't have Ramza LD call, another great option is Cloud LD call. You can use Cloud LD call to delay and then use his finishing touch immediately after that to launch or enable you to launch all 3 enemies. So once I use the call, I actually immediately swap Lightning out for my Onion Knight friend support. And the reason for this is Lightning is really very strong in single target, but at the start of the fight, my objective is to actually quickly bring down the minions as quickly as possible so that I can start delaying the boss. So Lightning goes out, Onion Knight support comes in. And the Onion Knight friend support is also useful because he can LD turn manipulate to allow you a bit more turns in order to finish charging up Ramuh summon. So at the start of the fight, I was actually trying to aim to reach to summon in time so that I can then enter summon phase and finish killing off the minions inside the summon phase. In terms of friend support, I used Onion Knight because I didn't happen to have Ultimecia friend support active at the time of this video. Personally, I think Ultimecia friend support would be fantastic here. She can go burst mode and then use her LD 3 times in a row to delete every enemy's turns at the start, which will then allow you a lot of room to kill off the minions and start delaying the boss. Alright, so here I've reached 1 turn before the enemies start getting their actions. So this is where I decide to pop Ramuh summon. Does some nice AoE damage, inflicts the framed paralysis, and this is actually another key thing for Lightning Cheese. Throughout the fight, the boss will resummon the minions unless it's disabled in some way, shape or form. Normally it's immune to paralysis, but summoning Ramuh actually now inflicts a framed paralysis, as you can see here, and this will actually disable the boss from ever resummoning its minions until it gets a turn again. Which also means that once the minions are dead, you'll only have to worry about the boss for the rest of the fight. Okay, so the minions are dead, and at this point, what I'm looking at is the turn bar to ensure that Lightning comes back in time to start delaying the boss. You can use Onion Knight's EX here because it has high turn rate, so sometimes using it will push Onion Knight's turn up a little bit, allowing you some breathing room for Lightning when she returns. Alternatively, you can actually swap out, say, Kurasame for the Onion Knight or Ultimecia support, but I find that both Kurasame and Reno actually has nice AoE damaging attacks in their kit, which helps bring down the mobs at the start of the fight. If you can't kill off the mobs before they get their first turn, it's actually not that big a deal. You can just use Reno's Pyramid at the start to safeguard yourself against the first 1 or 2 attacks that the enemies use. However, you really don't want the boss to use its signature, I think, Blight Wing attack, because after it uses the attack, the Lufenia orb will appear. So here, if you actually just delay the boss, definitely the Lufenia orb actually will never appear as well. After a few turns, when the minions are dead, the boss will engage its turns, as you can see from the turn bar here. However, this enframing of the turn is different from the Medusa fight. The boss is still susceptible to delay and breaks. The enframing of the turns only will prevent you from actually deleting the boss turns with characters such as Ultimecia or the Lion. So with this party setup, the frame around the boss turns is essentially not doing anything. So right at the early part of the fight, when the minions are freshly killed off, it is a little bit tight because Lightning came back when the boss is right about to get its turn. So in order to build some space between your team and the boss's next turn, you can consider using a few more of Lightning's additional ability to cause re-breaks and further delays. Later on in the fight, as you cycle through Lightning's LD and EX, eventually you will be able to delay the boss faster than the boss getting turns, so it will eventually push the boss's turns very far back, which means that the best time to use Lightning's AA is really at this part of the fight, when you need to build some distance between your party's turns and the boss's turns. So just quickly about the party setup here, I use Lightning is a given, mainly to delay the boss, and I use Kurosame for his hero debuff, which is 30% more HP damage. The choice of third party member is actually very flexible. You can consider, for example, Baltier, who has very nice auras in addition to extra HP damage. Or maybe newly released Ares with her LD, because she can battery the party and also I believe has a 10% HP damage up. So all those would work quite well. Or you can use a very strong support unit with good auras. Just be mindful though that Paladin Cecile will not work here because the boss actually absorbs Holy Element. But beyond that, really any other support unit, even Ramza or Onion Knight would be other good choices. I really picked Reno for two reasons. One is at the start of the fight I was thinking that I may need Reno's Pyramid as a safeguard in case the boss or the minions manage to get any turns off. But as you can see, it is possible to kill off the minions before they get any action, so in theory Pyramid isn't really needed. But the other reason for me using Reno is for his debuffs on attack down, on defense down, and as well as it's been a long time since I've actually used Reno, so I thought this would be as good a fight as any to start using him again. Alright, so here is the second time I'm using Lightning's LD. And you can see with the combination of Lightning's LD causing a re-break and the fact that she can cycle immediately to her EX again right after that, really will push the boss's turns very far back, and from here on in it's a very smooth sailing. You can potentially consider burning her LD a bit earlier on if you need the extra delay as an emergency. However, it's ideal to try to space out her LD use because you want her LD overhead to last as long as possible throughout the entire battle, since it significantly boosts Lightning's DPS. And by only using it when her LD overhead expires or is about to expire, I managed to actually stretch out her overhead right up to the end of the fight. Otherwise, if you burn her LD earlier, there will be a portion of the fight where Lightning will have to go without her overhead buff. So when the boss reaches 49% health, it will buff its stats again, which includes a noticeable increase in defenses. And on hindsight, I think if you use this party, the more optimal play is to save Reno and Kurasame's remaining LD users for the last 49%, because those attacks will still cap out on damage at the last part of the fight. And if you use their other attacks above 50%, those attacks will still do nice damage. So essentially allowing you to save the more damaging LD skill users when you need them at the later parts of the fight when defenses are higher. It's really a more optimal play, but given that the fight has quite a relatively more relaxed turn count than the last Lufenia fight, it's not really needed for you to play optimally here. As long as you focus on having Lightning cycle through to her EX as quickly as possible to delay, I think that's fine. One thing I did forget to do that I would recommend you doing if you're using Lightning here is to remove at least one of her speed passives. I actually forgot to remove one of her speed passives, and as you can see throughout the fight, there are certain times when I was just one small tick shy from a full EX meter, which will not happen if you actually make Lightning slightly slower. So removing one speed passive will allow her to reach a full EX meter without having to use an HP++ attack, which is, I think, more ideal in this fight. I'm sure there will be many other variations of Lightning Cheese runs that people will do. There are many other party members that will complement Lightning very well here, and of course we can consider pairing Lightning with another delayer or rebreaker to push the boss's turns even further back. I think that the only two key elements in a Lightning run is having Lightning, of course, and having Ramuh summon to inflict frame paralysis on the boss. Beyond that, the other party members are there mainly to complement and boost the Lightning, the damage that Lightning can do, which is why I used Kurasame and Reno. But again, there are many other characters who can do that and who can also help Lightning to delay the boss. So if you look through your roster of viable characters, there will be many potential partners to Lightning here.
澄ます絶対0度の一撃終わらせてやる。
切り開く。逃がさない。ずっと焼き付けろ。蹴散らす。派手なの行くぜ。ほらよ。蹴散らす。
死神からは逃げられまい。切り刻む。
受けろ。改造組だぜ。焼き付けろ。受けろ。切り裂く。そりゃあ。蹴散らす。受けろ。焼き付けろ。受けろ。
研ぎ澄ます。絶対0度の一撃。
とっておきだぞ。行くか。蹴散らす。ってあっ。
真の像まで凍りつけ。
逃がさない。ずっと切り開く。派手なの行くぜ。ほらよ。受けろ。 焚きつけろ。蹴散らす。
And that's it. Very straightforward fight if you are using lightning to cheese. I hope this video has been helpful, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, do leave a like, comment or subscribe. It really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you in the next Lufenia fight. Bye bye.